Sisi tulikuwa tunatarajia akichukua hiyo ushukani, Kiambu itaendelea mbele na njia ya yule mdogo mkulima wa chini anaweza kuwa na pesa mfukoni, anaweza jisaidia kujidumu kimaisha, lakini hatukuona hiyo.
We need a governor who is a person of integrity. We need a governor who will listen to the people and do what people want.
You will come as a governor, you will tell us you will do roads, you will do this, you will do that. But if you are not able to manage our fiscal planning, we are going to have a problem in this country. And therefore, I will say in Kiambu, as we go to vote, let us look for somebody with capacity to solve our finance crisis that is making this country lag behind.
We want, one, a free corrupt governor. Two, a person who is able to correct the revenue and put it into use.
Yule governor tunatarajia ni mwenye atajua wafanyikazi wanataka hii ndio aweze kutimiza ile. Yule governor mwenye hatujaipata ni mwenye anajua tutapata wapi ushuru. Kiambu iko na rasilimali mingi yenye inaweza leta ushuru mingi katika Kiambu. Lakini wale magavana wenye wako huwa wanafikiria ati rasilimali itapatikana kwa land rates, kwa mijengo, lakini hawajui kuna rasilimali mingi sana Kiambu.
All right, and of course, what is consistent here is that the residents of Kiambu are saying they want a governor who will listen to them, who will manage their resources in a proper manner. And Munde, you were telling me about the levies that small businesses and probably medium enterprises, they have to pay. They're at 8%. But also telling me that the on-source revenue needs to be managed in a manner that it needs to go higher than it is so that you have more resources to use in development and running of the affairs of that county. So where do you get this? Already, if the small and medium enterprises are feeling the pinch of having to pay so much, how then do you increase the on-source revenue?
Okay. Let me start by saying it can be done. First of all, when I joined, I used to be the general manager ICT at KTDA, Kenya Tea Development Agency. One of their biggest, let me say something about KTDA. It's actually a small Kenya. The politics, the social issues, the economic issues, it's a small Kenya. One of the things why they wanted to implement, to leverage technology, was that they were losing a lot of money. There was a lot of corruption. A lot of tea was being stolen. Smallholder tea farmers were losing a lot of money. And in fact, it got to a stage where they started uprooting their tea. So that's a point at which KTDA, the board and the management, decided to actually hire someone to champion their digital transformation. And I used to work for the UN in Italy then, and I actually came back when they told me about the job. So let me say that I was able to transform the smallholder tea farming value chain all the way from the tea bushes, how tea is planted, the distribution of fertilizer, etc., through the buying centers where the tea is bought, through the factories, the whole processing value chain, all the way to the auction and the storage, the warehouses. It's a whole value chain. What we must do is similar. When we talk about agricultural value chains, that is what we are talking about. What I was able to achieve, first of all, is to eliminate all the ghost growers in the system. Once we put the systems in place, we were able to remove about 50,000 ghost growers, people who used to earn money from tea, but they had no tea at all. So that's one. But secondly, we were able to capture all the income from tea, so that if you bring your tea so many kilos, you actually get paid for it. Because in the process of payment, also money used to be siphoned out. So what I'm saying is, it's the same thing we need to do at the county level. Even some of the money which is collected, it's actually not used for county purposes. So it's leveraging technology, and this is my area of expertise, leveraging technology to collect more revenues, to manage what you get from the treasury, the national government, most of which is being siphoned out, and to also be able to do effective budgets. What happens is that you do budgets based on your estimates. For example, you estimate that your internally generated revenue will be 3 billion, but in actual fact, it's 1.2. But you've already done project and started project based on that, 3 billion budget, So that's why, for example, we have pending bills, a lot of pending bills because of projects which have been started based on a budget which is not real, and people know it's not real. So there's a lot that can be managed using technology because you can transparently see, do we have this money or not? You know, you're able to see what is the current status of this project. How much will this project cost? That's the other thing. We are already over budget for projects.
Okay.
Using technology, you're able to see that.
I'm looking at a report of the control of budget. By the first half of 2021-2022, they had collected 1.3 billion shillings in terms of on-source revenue against a target of 3.8 billion. So by half that, you'd say if 3.8 is the annual target, then you could say that the half would have been about 1.9. So hitting 1.3 would appear not so bad a performance. But Patrick, when you reflect on how that county has been run since 2013, and looking at the revenue options that the county would have, and if you're successful and you become the fourth governor of Kiambu County, how then will you manage this on-source revenue that has been quite a challenge for many counties? They set a target that they never achieve. Kiambu not left out.
Yeah, tell you what, and I've said this before, that the executive seat of a governor is actually not a political seat per se. This is a managerial seat. This is a seat that requires a CEO. And basically, again, and I really regret that sometimes you get very good politicians who come and talk and, you know, they do their shenanigans, they get very popular, and they get into that seat. And that big mistake happens almost all the time. And, you know, when people come in, they have no idea of how to run an enterprise. If somebody has never even run a shop, leave alone a county, I mean, how does he run a whole county like this of 3.5 million people? I really fail to understand. In fact, when we are interviewing, when you want to employ a house help, how much of an interview do you do? And how when you want a CEO of your county, you don't even do nothing. You just listen to people. Yeah, I'm going to move this river from here to there. You laugh, and then you say, this is a good guy. I'll tell you what. Why we are having these problems and why people are unable to manage this is because really they don't have the exposure of the managerial. Well, like now, what are we talking about? Like now, yesterday I was at Kikuyu and I was talking to people who actually World Bank have done very nice water pans. And these water pans, they are actually doing nothing with them. In fact, they are a hazard to their kids because they can fall in. And then what we have done with those people is, and also another place called Githofokoni, World Bank has used almost 4 billion. There's a grant of 4 billion. They're doing in Kiambu. And those people, we started doing seedlings with that water. Today, I got a call. There is a cluster that is selling seedlings worth 636,000 shillings out of those water ponds, of which they were constructed. They have been there for 5 years. Nothing has happened to them in the last 2 years. These people have started making money. What am I saying? We have got so much money here. And the issue and the problem of what we have in Kiambu is not actually collection. We may not even introduce new taxes. We don't need them. In fact, I remember the first governor of Kiambu, he came in, started introducing taxes left, right, and center. In fact, that is when we started hearing of chicken tax. If you remember the 20 bob when you slaughter a chicken in your house, if you go back. So, and the issue is, it is not this.
Was that tax really charged?
Well, I think we fought it. We fought it. We are the citizens of Kiambu. So, however, what I am saying is we don't need any new tax regime. What we need is, can we be able to use what we get prudently? Can we get rid of this seepage of revenue? Can we ensure that the money that is coming from Exchequer, the money that, the little that we are collecting, is used in the right manner? Can we actually spur the growth of business? When you start charging taxes on construction, I remember I paid 800,000 about 5 years ago. 800,000 on building a factory wall. Not the factory itself, the wall. So what are we saying? This factory today has employed almost 800 people. If I didn't have that 800,000, these 800 people will not be working. Why can't you let the factories come up, charge something on it? I remember doing housing in Kiambu was a mirage. A lot of construction was going to Machakos and Murang'a. Why? Because the charge and the tax charged only on, and it's called what? The construction levy. Before you start constructing anything, it was so prohibitive.
And are those charges still there?
Oh, those charges are still there. Nobody did nothing about them.
So now
we still have a lot of difficulty.
So part of that,
yes.
Part of that is what is driving the onset revenue.
Yes.
So if you become governor, and those
yes.
are things that you stand against,
yes,
and you scrap them off, that you
very good. Why? Because I want secondary revenue. It's much better to charge a business that is running than to kill a starting business. That is what you're saying. I am a businessman myself. I am very happy paying a tax for something I have sold. But if you tell me to pay tax on the machine, pay tax on the building, where will I get that money? I have not even earned a coin. I want people, the idea is, what is this that we can be able to spark growth? What is this that we can be able to make sure that people are working? So that if people are working and get paid from that, then you are doing a positive tax. That's a positive thing.
Can I look at that a little bit differently? It's not just an issue of taxes. You know, when we talk about how are we going to increase the OSR, it's not just looking at what is existing there. It's about, for example, intensifying our value addition. By intensifying value addition, this is what I mean. You are creating more small industries. You're increasing manufacturing, you know, towards the manufacturing end. You are then able to, for the new businesses and new lines of businesses that you're creating with new income streams, you are able to actually increase the different type of taxes that you'll have along those value chains. So I would say one of the things to move away from taxing these startup businesses is to intensify our value addition. When it comes to agriculture especially, this is our key income generating sector, agriculture. So first and foremost, increasing agricultural productivity, so that you are having a lot more, increasing our yields. Because as Mheshimiwa mentioned, our land, now we are land scarce, you know, we have scarcity of land.
Right.
So we use what we have and intensify agriculture. We use modern agricultural methods, for example, greenhouses, etc. And in the process, with more agricultural production, with more value addition, then it's a win-win for the people and for the government.
Okay.
Let me also add on this.
Yes.
I personally, I am a producer of, or rather, we process food. When we buy food from Meru, do you know how many barriers and how much cess we pay?
Along the way?
Along the way. We pay cess in Meru County, we pay cess in Tharaka-Nithi, we pay cess in Embu, we pay cess in Kirinyaga, we pay cess in Nyeri, Murang'a, before you come to Kiambu. This is only one pickup of produce. How do you expect to process that and make money?
How much is that, cess?
600 every barrier. 50 shillings per bag. 50 shillings per bag.
So 600, and those are...
So six stations,
counties?
5 counties.
5.
Times that is 3,000 on a pickup. All right. So, and then you need to process these avocado and make money. How do you make money on that? So I'm just giving a good an example. So how we have a ballast.
How do you want
we have
that?
a ballast quarry in Machakos. For us to bring that quarry to Kiambu, for example, for every truck we pay 3,000. How do you sell that ballast even if you wanted to? I mean, even if you wanted to, basically, again, what you're saying is a lose-lose. Machakos loses on top in terms of employment because that ballast is there are people working there. Kiambu loses in terms of construction because now you don't construct, you don't get your affordable material. I mean, this devolution, it was supposed to be for good. Right now, it's become a challenge. Total challenge.
Mheshimiwa Patrick, so you're talking about Kiambu, but also the impact, because even when you look at the economic survey of 2022, you'll see that, yes, Kiambu is leading in terms of, is second to Nairobi in terms of the economic contribution of 5.9%.
Yes.
Mombasa coming with their 5.2%. And of course, you can see how different the business models in Mombasa are from Kiambu.
Indeed.
So Kiambu, largely, it's about agriculture, service, and transport, and also the real estate.
Yes.
So as you talk about those external factors that you don't have much control of, how do you help the residents of Kiambu who are feeling the pinch, like you're expressing here?
So basically, again, what you're saying is that, number one, Kiambu cannot exist in isolation. So again, you're saying, what is this that we can do so that we can also engage the national government? Can we engage the COG, the committee, the Council of Governors? What is so that at least we know whatever is happening in Kiambu is also happening in Murang'a, is happening in another county. What is this so that we can do so that we can be able to ease doing business in our counties? I mean, when we are charging those cess, the cess we are charging, is it positive to us? When you get 600 and you enable business that could have multiplied to thousands and millions of shillings, where are we making? Where are we going from there? So basically, again, it's about making policy work for all of us as a country, as in counties, and basically there are many things. There are many things. I can tell you what. The other day I was reading about the pending bills in Kiambu. Right now, the figure stands at about 10 billion. I know groups of young people right now, people who have been auctioned, people who have gone in depression, people who have died because of pending bills. Now, tell me, if this is the way we are going to run, we want services, we are not paying for bills. A lot of services, by the way, and I'll tell you what, the services that are hot air are the ones that get paid in Kiambu. The services that are real don't get paid. Why? When you supply hot air, it is very easy to cut 50-50 and people get the money.
Where did you read that figure of 10 billion shillings?
Yeah, I was reading some material from, I've been doing my research. Of course,
because I'm looking at the report of the control of budget for the financial year 2020-2021. This is the full year report. It talks about Kiambu, the pending bills. The total was 3.5 billion shillings. Out of that, 2.3 billion shillings was from the development expenditure and 1.16 billion.
In the report, what is the timestamp on that report?
I'm saying it is the financial year of 2021, the full year report. But I'll shortly give you a report of the half year for the current financial year. But then that would appear inconsistent with what you were reading.
Okay. However, it's still at 3.5. Do you think that's a small figure? In all fairness, this figure owed to people in Kiambu County, I tell you, there are people who are owed millions of shillings, and people have taken loans. And those, in fact, if you look at the age, because I think you're reading at age report. Because this report maybe is 2-3 years old. In that we are saying it's current, whatever I do, I don't want to deny it. I don't want to contest your report. However, I know this figure is much larger than this. However, we are saying, whatever that figure is reading, there are people who are dying and have depression because they have not been paid for years and have taken loans from banks. That is exactly what I'm saying. Okay. And if you go ahead with this, if you go along with this, I can tell you the development, because why are you putting a tender out when you know you have no money to pay? That is simple. If you do not, or what we are coming back to what we are calling about economic empowerment, putting money into the people's pocket. This county, if you do roads and we pay for them, if you do water and pay for it, if you do electricity and pay for it, we are going to enrich the people of Kiambu as we give them services.
Okay, all right. I want us to listen. I'll get back to, because there's a point you raised, you're doubting the report, which is for the financial year 2020-2021.
But don't forget the point.
But
don't lose the point.
Good. But I'll get the latest in terms of the current.
Sure.
But let's first listen to what residents of Kiambu, and this in particular spoke to people in Thika town. This is what they feel about, should it be a political party determining who they elect to be their governor, or are they looking at the personality? Listen.
Kuna wengine wanasimama kama Wamatagi amekuwa senator, sijui atafanya nini akiingia. Lakini kwangu mimi wote ni magavana. Kuna kitu moja naweza ambia wananchi. Kulingana na wewe vyenye unajua mtu, usichague chama. Ukichagua chama utakuwa umejiharibu. Juu tumechagua chama mara mingi sana na tumeona vyenye chama zimetupeleka. chagua mtu kulingana na kazi yake na utendakazi yake.
Kwa hivyo kwa hao watu watatu ambao wametuongoza, watu ya Kiambu wamewapima kwa ratili. Na saa hii tu itakuwa tu ni kuchagua, sababu tunawajua wote. Siwezi sema watu watachagua Kabogo ama watachagua Waitito ama watachagua Jangu. Hao watu yote tumekuwa na wao. Sisi tunawajua mzuri. Kwa hivyo itakuwa tu ni kuwatenganisha na tuseme huyu ndiye tulipea kazi kidogo ama tulipea kazi fulani, lakini tukaona anatutetea.
Haswa wakati huu hatuangalii mtu wako chama gani, tunaangalia mtu binafsi. Ni nini unaweza deliver kwa watu wa Kiambu? Kwa sababu saa hii viwanda zilifungwa mingi, vijana hawana kazi. Haya, kama ni mambo na vijana wenyewe ile biashara fund wise access wanasumbuka. Tunataka saa mtu mwenye atakuja ainue hali ambayo tuko nayo ibadilishwe kidogo, kwa sababu kukiwa na pesa watu wote watakuwa sawa.
Again, the expression of needs. What are your suggestions when you look at the economic activities of the people of Kiambu County? Because talking about scarcity of land, in some parts, especially the urban constituencies, if you're talking about Ruiru, Juja, Thika, Kiamba, and Kiambu town itself, they are more of the value of land is more valuable for real estate than it is for agriculture. Yet Kiambu is home to some of the best arable lands in this country. And then we have all these challenges of food insecurity. And the people that are affected are the people living in Nairobi, living in Kiambu because of the food prices. What are your specific suggestions on how to boost, to improve these very important needs, but at the same time offer alternatives, alternative economic activities for the people of Kiambu?
Okay, it's a very good question. One of the things I've noticed, and just to confirm what you've just said, I had gone to Kikuyu, and Kikuyu, the roads are there, they're beautiful. And Kikuyu has urbanized quite a bit. Actually, I think it's the most urbanized county it's turning out to be, actually it's going to be the most urbanized sub-county in Kiambu. And what you notice, the roads are very good. They have blocks of nice flats and, you know, but they had no food. So when I was going there, I had been told whether I could take some food for the vulnerable, needy people. So then on my way there, I was called and I was told they're not 60, they're now 120. So we went back to the supermarket to buy more food. By the time we got there, actually, and then I think people called each other. There were like 400 people. I mean, even it was an issue, even just giving out the unga, and the oil, and it was a big issue. So the whole idea that people in Kiambu are actually hungry. There is no money to buy food. I wanted to clarify something about food security and agriculture. We normally put them together. We normally use the terms interchangeably, and actually they don't quite mean the same. I would say that's an issue of food security. Agriculture is about productivity and production. Food security is about getting money to actually buy the food of your choice. Meaning, for example, I can do fish farming in Kikuyu land where people don't eat fish, but because I know I'll sell it and get money to actually buy the food I like to eat, those are the elements of food security. So what I'm proposing, for example, is to actually increase, when we look at it from a food security perspective, that we can actually kick off fish farming. I'm doing a pilot project in Machakos for fish farming. I want to replicate that in Kiambu so that we can do, because our land is small, and here you're talking about a greenhouse which is 8 meters by 25. And here you can actually be producing 5,000 kilos of fish per year, coming from using fish ponds where you produce 200 kilos per year. So for smallholder farmers, if we can adopt, for example, things like fish farming, we are able, first of all, we benefit the country because we are producing a low, if I may call it, a cheap protein. Okay, we are also able to get income from it. I mean, there's no fish in Kenya because of Lake Victoria, shortage of fish from Lake Victoria. So I'm looking at the different ways to boost food security for things like that, to boost for the people who are doing their farming. How do we do modern farming so that we increase production and productivity? I'm also looking at value addition. So for example, when we have our potatoes in Limuru market that we don't sell in sacks, we start actually, we put incubators with machines for cutting them into chips, okay? So that then we can take them to Mombasa, to, Nairobi,
How will you
wherever.
do that?
How? One of the things I'm planning to do is create, for every one of these products like potatoes, create a value chain. Meaning, by the time the farmers are starting to do their potatoes, first of all, creating people working in groups, you have a whole chain of who will be the buyers, who will be buying directly from the farmers without brokers, who will be processing the fish.
Those brokers are also citizens of Kiambu County that need to make some money.
So, no, you asked me a question, so can I finish? you create value chains. What happens when you create value chains? It's a win-win for everybody. So if you want to be that person who goes down to buy from the farm, that's okay. Then you process it, because even for you as a broker, you want to make money, right? But what happens when you do it like this is that there's an agreement below which you cannot buy the potatoes from, because there's a cut mark, you can't go below that. So you buy the potatoes, you come and process them, make them into chips, okay, and you're able to do the distribution. Then you work with a logistics company which will take the potatoes, the chips in the form of chips. I saw something interesting when I had gotten Larry for a funeral, and they had made a lot of, they're in the process of cooking ugali and sukuma wiki. So they had cut the sukuma wiki nicely. And what I could see there, and this is after I had come from Kikuyu where there was no food. What I could see there is all the shambas had very nice green fresh vegetables and had just left Kikuyu where there was no food. So it occurred to me, one of the things that we can be doing in Larry, and in fact I discussed with them at length, is something basic. The way they had cut that sukuma wiki, we start packaging it, we put it in cooler boxes. In every estate, we put a container there, a vegetable container there, so that it's also branded, so that this is coming from Larry. Because normally, like when you buy vegetables here in Nairobi, you're told, by the way, that is Nairobi River water. They look nice and healthy because they are from Nairobi River. Here, it's from Larry, somebody's shamba. Then when you're coming from work, you're actually buying sukuma, which is already nicely cut and it's fresh. So you just go home and just cut. So that's how I want to increase productivity and access to market and value addition. And I believe with that, we'll be able to sort out this the food security issue.
Okay, Patrick, I got your figure that you're looking for. For the financial year 2021-2022, the half year, the half year report. The pending bills for Kiambu County were 5.12 billion shillings.
It's going up. It's going up. I like that. I like that.
It's still not 10 billion. But anyway, your point is made. But for you, so with all these concerns and all these ideas that you have, you see, at the end of the day, when you listen to these leaders and they tell you that we want someone who listens to us, someone who takes care of our concerns. But there's those contextual realities. The people in Thika do not own, even if they own land, it's not sufficient for a proper production.
True.
So what are those alternatives that you will look for, and how will you do that if you become governor?
Let me give you a case study. A case example, what I am practically doing. I've got this group of young men. I told you I've got, usually I like working with groups. In Kiambu alone, I have got 3,500 groups doing different things. There are guys who are buying land, subdividing and selling it. There are people who are doing rentals. There are people who are doing, I have a group in Kikuyu that are doing animal feed. By the way, old ladies, there are about 23 of them, and they are here in Kikuyu. It's called Big Tree, and they're doing a fantastic job. But the guys in Gashi, the guys who are doing rentals, that is a classic example. Gashi, you cannot buy land. It's expensive. It's about 10 million per whatever you call 100 by 100 plots. It's about 10 million. These guys, they come in and they tell me they're going to do rentals in Gashi, and it's like, how now? How are you going to buy this land? So they get together and they start putting some money together. We have a small application called JHello. They started putting money there, and they told me they're going for a lease. So one lease per year is only 30,000. So I said, oh, guys, we are thinking out of the box. So they get lease for 15 years, paying 30,000 shillings a month. They have put 40 bed sitters in that place. The 40 bed sitters are giving them 260,000 shillings a month, 3.1 million shillings a year. They have used 12 million to construct that project. So it's going to be return on investment is going to be 4 million. It's going to be 12 million, but at 3.1 is 4 years. Their lease of 15 years and a gratuity of 2 years, because they're going to leave those houses the way they are. So they are given 2 years extra. 17 years minus 4 is 13 years. In 13 years, they are going to have earned 40.1 million shillings. And what is the investment per person? There are 15 of them, 261,000. They put 261,000, bring it to Jacob Foundation. Usually we have got this up, it's like a circle. So you put 1 shilling, we give you 3 shillings. They put 4 million, we give them 12 million shillings. We got them 8 million, we guaranteed them 8 million, they have 12. So they are doing this housing. In these people, by the time they're done, they make 40 million because of this investment of 261. That usage of land, the owner of that land was planting Napier grass. In 1 year, I don't know whether he was being able to make maybe 50,000. I don't know whether he was making 50,000. But now, this guy, see, look, win-win. The owner of the land, how much is he getting? He's getting 30,000 a month, but he still has got hope. That is about 360,000 a year, with a good hope of getting his houses in 17 years, intact. Maybe by that time they'll be earning 1 million shillings a month. A guy who could not have constructed houses. I'm trying to show you how can we use land in Kiambu and yet have whatever it takes. And there is another group that they have had planted seedlings. Macadamia seedlings, 1 seedling is going for 500 shillings. This guy also, in fact, there is another group of women. They are in Gitofokoni, Gatodo North. They also have got like 100 by 100. They are doing about 1,000 seedlings every 3 months. 1 seedling is 500. So they are making half a million every 3 months with their plot.
I hear you.
What I'm saying is,
yes.
What is this that we can do value to our land? Can we stop planting maize and beans and potatoes so that we eat, we don't die? That is not the way this economy is going. Look at Dubai. Those guys, what do they plant? Nothing. What do they eat? They eat with the kings.
What do you think should be the contribution of Kiambu County to the food production in this country?
Basically, we are saying, and I say again, what we are saying about all this stuff is, what is the leadership in Kiambu? That is what matters. If you have poor leadership, if you have got the leadership that we got in the last 15 years, is it 10 years now? If you have got that kind of leadership, then we are doomed in Kiambu. And I can tell you, let me repeat the words of I think 2 or 3 gentlemen who said there. This time, it is about the person. If you look at what you have done in Thika, in fact, let me also put these points. I'm an independent MP in Thika. I don't even belong to any party. But for the first time, Thika has got 60 kilometers of tarmac, 500 kilometers of other road. They have got 2,000 street lights. They have got water for the first time in Thika East. They have got more than 1,000 groups of economic empowerment.
You have not answered my question, because let me just rephrase it.
Yes,
I'm asking because you have great ideas that you want to assist people to put up houses and earn from it.
Yes.
But again, primarily, Kiambu has very fertile
land,
or should I call it arable land?
Yes, I remember that.
So if all that is taken by, by real estate, so what do we do, especially when we are to look at the global question for the country, food productivity and food security?
This is my take. I want people of Kiambu to make money. I want to make money, whether through housing, through industry, through farming. I want them to make money. I do not want to be the one to stop people. If you make money today, how much is 1 bag of maize in Rift Valley when it is that time of harvest? 1,000 shillings, you have got 1 bag of maize. 1 tree of macadamia is going to give you 7,000 shillings a year. So with 1 tree of macadamia, you have got 7 bags of maize, enough to feed your family of 3 a whole year. So why do you need to plant maize in Kiambu? You don't. What I'm saying is, can we think whatever is arable, we do high value agriculture? And if you think that agriculture is not giving you money, be the Dubai. Let Kiambu be the Dubai of Kenya. Let us do those housing units that are giving us people money, not one person. It is giving a group of people money. These young people with 40 units, 15 of them, with 40 units are going to earn 40.1 million in 13 years. They are going to earn 3 million in 1 year.
Okay.
We are saying the joblessness here in Kiambu, it can only be tackled if we think out of the box. Let us not get captive of what we think. We have arable land. What are we doing with it? All these arable land. Do you know you can farm in Kitui as a semi-arid? Do you know you can farm in Mombasa? Do you know what is Israel? Israel has no rain.
But those farmers,
why are we? Why
how possible is it, Honorable Fainena, because you also sit at the National Assembly?
Yes, sir.
How possible is it for a farmer in Kiambu to leave their county, go and start farming in Kiambu, in Kitui?
It's just the policy. I mean, it's just the way we do things, because our leaders are not interested to ensure that they promote things that put money in people's pockets. Or when you get there and you are able to generate money. Where I am coming from, I'm a CEO of a company that has employed 3,000 people. I know how to generate money for people. I know what I've done for the people of Vika. I know what I've generated for them. I am not going to make them captive of beans and beans.
Yet these voters in Kiambu County, not all of them are lucky to know what you know.
Definitely, I'm telling them now.
But what about
Kiambu?
Mwende, just call it that name. What are your thoughts? Because yes, you tell me that you can adopt fish farming, you can help the farmers in Kiambu to start doing that, or the residents in Kiambu to start doing that. But those farmers, because there are those people that are still farming, whether it's coffee, whether it's tea, whether it's the food crops that he's talking about, maize and other horticultural goods, or other foods. What should happen to that? At a time that Kiambu County would appear, or he suggests that should be as enterprising as possible, as industrial as possible, what happens to that aspect of food production?
Okay. I beg to differ with Mheshimiwa, and it's always good to, we can agree to disagree. Mine is to make Kiambu the food basket of this country. Under my economic pillar, I want to make Kiambu the food basket of this country. Yes, granted we have a lot of urbanization, and we are getting urbanized, so we are using some of the land for, building flats, for construction and real estate.
Right.
But we do have a lot of land also. For example, these places of Deya, where we can actually do things. It's not being used right now because we say it's dry. Yeah, like he mentioned, Mheshimiwa mentioned, they do things in Israel in the desert. We can do that. Once we find out how to access water and take it there, we'll do those dry areas we're talking about in Kiambu. We'll do the fish farming. We'll do the vegetables. We'll do the greenhouses. I want to make Kiambu the food basket of this country. Let me also mention something else. When we say when you talked, you mentioned we have different things. We have food crops, but we also have cash crops. For cash crops, our tea and our coffee, we have very good tea, very good coffee. In fact, Kiambu used to lead in coffee production and premium coffee. What I'm saying is what we don't do is value addition. We're not doing enough value addition so that our coffee, our tea leaves Kenya and goes straight away to the shelves in Tesco's or, supermarkets in the US and the UK. That's how I'm looking at it. So for our cash crops, we do more value addition, we do more branding. We can get, when I worked in KTD, actually, I had suggested that KTD could actually buy a brand. In fact, that time I think it was, I can't remember what brand it was, but in the UK, because I was trying to replicate what Tata, a company in India, had bought a company called Tetley in the UK. And I was telling KTD, looking at where KTD was at that point, I was telling them we could buy the same, we could do the same and buy Lipton or something like that. That's the same thing I want to bring to Kiambu. I want to talk to the business owners. And the big business owners with acres and acres of tea and coffee, and bring investors on board, and we see how we can, take that to the next level. Yeah.
All right.
There's something I want to add to that, though, because you asked the question also on generating more revenue. Kiambu, we are sitting on wealth of assets. But if you look at, for example, companies in Nairobi, the Safaricom's, the Coca-Cola, when they want to have workshops, when they want to, they have meetings, they go to Naivasha or Mombasa. They don't come to Kiambu. Why? We've not been able to establish those kind of facilities in Kiambu. And why? There's no reason. Because we actually have investors who would be ready to actually invest in such facilities in Kiambu. We have people who own such areas. For example, if you're going to Limuru, those sides where you can actually set up you can actually have those very nice facilities for conferencing and, but we haven't actually exploited that. So one of my things under my economic pillar is to unlock the wealth of Kiambu, because we are sitting on a gold mine.
I'm just thinking, if I don't come from Kiambu, actually I don't, but then you tell me that you want to move the economic opportunity that Nakuru County has in Naivasha so that you bring it to Kiambu. Where are our thoughts as a nation on every county producing what it's best at? Don't respond now. Let's take a look at some of the tweets that Kenyans have been sharing with us. Wagede, I think. Ask MP Thika what happened towards construction of Muguga, Gatuanyaga, Munyu Road, which was left incomplete to the nightmare of users. So that's a road in Thika. Please note it down, Honorable Wainaina. Juguna Kamonye, you're saying, question for Kiambu aspirants. In the Ruiru area, most populated constituents in Kiambu will lack well-equipped health facilities. Would this be a priority for you? Okay, that is towards health. Kevin, so the only way to improve agriculture sector is to lower the inputs. I bet you mean the price of inputs or the cost. Ask those leaders, how will they come up with a solution of reducing fertilizer and seed price? Let not be deceived about value addition, modern farming. How when fertilizer is 6,000 shillings per kilogram, so cost of inputs. And Mwaniki, you're saying, Larry sub-county, very high potential in agriculture, but unpopular in population. There's no politician focuses on it, unlike urban, highly populated sub-counties like Ruiru, Kikuyu, and Juja. Again, Kiambu is such a wide county because you have about 12 constituencies. So you can see Thika Town themselves saying that they've been left out. Larry again saying they've been left out. And there's an important question about health, which we should not finalize this conversation without talking about. There's that specific question.
On the road. Yeah, Gatunyaga. That's the road I'm saying that I went to Kura, and I actually canvassed and got 1.7 billion shillings. That time, Thika Town was in very deplorable state. So we took 800 million shillings and we put it into Thika reconstruction, recarpeting of those roads. Thika Town, CBD, we have completely finished all that. Now we are working on this road. By the way, this is the first tarmac ever in Thika East as a sub-county. There's no other tarmac. So, but unfortunately, as you know, the state of the roads in Kenya, most roads are now at standstill. I talked to the PS last week.
What's going on?
They say that they are raising a bond for infrastructure. So probably we are going to see this road finished. And I hope, because this is one of the legacies of Jubilee and President Kenyatta, and I believe he's listening, so and I'm sure he has got something in the channel, and I am sure those roads that he has started, we think and I hope that he's going to finish them. This is going to be his legacy.
Okay.
People of Thika East are very excited about this one road. It's a ring road. It goes all the way from Muguga, goes to Munyu, and goes back to Garissa Road. Okay. So it's very key.
There's
very
that,
key
again, that question, Ruiru sub-county.
Level 4, yes.
Hospital.
Oh, there is a hospital, level 4, but it's a shell of a hospital. And nurses are never paid, doctors are never paid. There is no medicine in that hospital. In fact, there is no water in that hospital. So I really sympathize with the people of Ruiru. And Ruiru, I promise you one thing, that from September, when I become your governor, I am going to refurbish that hospital right away within the year. So, and people of Rari, I know, in fact, we are doing a road in Rari this week. The problem with Rari mainly is roads. They do very good, fantastic job, good farming, everything. Problem there is road communication, not even tarmac road, usable road, motorable road. And I also promise that this is exactly something that we're going to do. We have tractors that have been stuck in Ruiru because I'm in Thika because I'm their member of parliament. These tractors, we are going to bring them them to Rari, people of Rari. But also, let me also add something, and I think it's important. That in general, the economy of Kiambu, sometimes we look at what comes from outside. I really like thinking of what is within Kiambu County, the kind of potential we have in Kiambu County, the kind of purchase power we have in Kiambu County. And in fact, by large in Kenya, where the domestic market, what is this that we can make sure that at least we, instead of importing everything, can we make sure that we have got segments of products? Can you imagine that we are importing fish in this country? Can you imagine that we are importing eggs? Can you imagine with what arable soil we have in Kiambu? Yeah? We are constructing houses because we have nothing else to do. If you did apples here in Kiambu, you not believe it. Why are we importing apples from South Africa? Tomatoes. I mean, what we are saying is, can we get serious and say, from here going forward, these things, we are putting them at a safeguard. We are not banning anything. We are saying, for the next 3 or 6 years, can we say no apple is going to be imported in this country so that the people of Kiambu can start learning how to plant apples?
Okay. All right, I hear you. I just wanted to correct that. That out of the 12 constituencies, Larry is not the smallest, at least for the voter population, because Gatundu North, I think, has the least in Kiambu, because as of 2017, they had 67,000 registered voters. Larry, at the same time, had 76,000, but...
I think it's a density. It's a density.
Too far from the center?
No, it's a density. It's a density because Rari is very big, a lot of forests also.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Mwende, tell me about, what are your thoughts about health? Because a population of 1.2, if you have to look at health, then that's a serious need. Not population, but population of 2.4 as of 2019 census, and a voter population of 1.2. That is serious number of people to deal with.
Yeah. The health issues in Kiambu is actually shocking. It's not just Ruiru. It's Githunguri, it's Lari, it's Limuru. So what has happened? We have the health facilities, but they have nothing. They are all, I mean, people tell me they go to hospital at night and they're told, go and buy cotton wool, go and buy gloves. You know, the most basic of things. And if you look at them, you know, like Maheshmi was said, some of them don't even have water. There is a hospital in Karori that does not have toilets. You know, I mean, basic things that we are talking about here. So I think the first thing to do is actually map out, first of all, where all the dispensaries, the health centers, where exactly are they? Go and do an audit. What do they have? And as a priority, first of all, put equipment in place, to equip them with medical supplies, and most important, after you've done that, you must have the skilled staff to do this. You'll find that some of the equipment, which was like the cancer equipment, which was done through the national government, you'll find it in a hospital. But guess what? There's no radiologist. You know, so it means that machine actually really cannot be used because nobody can be able to read the outputs from it. You know, so I think it's a priority. The health facilities in Kiambu, it's actually shocking and in a very bad state. So it's first of all just mapping them out, doing an audit of what each has, beefing them to the level, if it's a level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, whatever it is that it's supposed to have, you know, make sure they are, you know, you have the doctors and the nurses and the staff in place. Okay.
I'm just trying to quickly look at the health budget of Kiambu County. It looks like the recurrent expenditure, this should be which year? 2021, the recurrent expenditure for health was 5.2 billion shillings for recurrent. Development was 866 billion shillings. So it's not like there has not been allocations. They have been there. And actually, health takes the lion's share out of a budget of 17.8 billion shillings that year. And in terms of absorption, the recurrent expenditure was absorbed 97.4%, and development expenditure was at 57.6%. So it appears there's a bit of challenge. I want us to speak about a little bit about politics because we have very few minutes to the end.
Okay, can I see the hospital? Just
you will, as you respond to this question. And so far, we've seen so much effort by whether it's Kenya Kwanza or Azimio la Umoja getting into that area of Mount Kenya. Let me begin with you, because you come from the Safina party. Early on, we had seen Safina sort of almost teaming up with Kenya Kwanza, then that did not happen. But how is it campaigning in a region that the perception out here is that Kenya Kwanza is ahead, UDA specifically is ahead, and you're not within the UDA party or even Kenya Kwanza?
Okay. Let me say where I started. I actually started as independent. And for the longest, I was independent, okay? Then what happened is that as independent, I was actually waiting for my hero, Martha Karua, to whatever her presidential candidature, to declare her presidential candidature, because then I was actually going to move to NAC, okay, and run as a governor under the NAC ticket. But once Martha Karua now moved to Azimio, I knew now this wouldn't work for me. Okay, it's at that point that I looked for a suitable party. One, I was looking for a party which respects women, okay? Yes, many places you're not respected. I was looking for a party where we say nomination is a slaughterhouse for women. For example, as women governors, the initial number was 26. Okay, we are now down to something like 8. Okay, that whole nomination place is, that's where women are thrown out. And you can understand, because like most of committees from most parties are male-dominated. That's just how they are. And so when it comes to nominations of women and you don't have money, you're not going for night meetings, you'll not be there when the decision is being made. So I also looked for a party where yes, they will respect, a women candidature. And Safina, it's one of the oldest parties from when we had the multi-party.
Right.
It's actually the only party which has survived since then. And it's because of the leadership of the party. Yeah, we had the Ford Kenya, we had the Ford Asili. We had, oh, Ford Kenya has, huh? Yeah. Okay, so it's one of the few that has survived.
That's fine.
And I would say it's because of the leadership of the party, because of Paul Moite, his leadership, and how he has taken the party to the next level.
Right.
And there are many people who also wanted to get a Safina ticket for the governor, but he was able to say, you know what, when they came, she has her credentials, she has her leadership and management credentials for this position, and that's how I got to join Safina.
But how is it now riding against a perceived wave?
Like you had most of the people say, I think you've heard what most people are saying. This time round, it's not about a party. This time round, we are looking for individuals that can deliver. In particular for Kiambu, and I'm always telling my people in Kiambu that we must look for people with leadership and management, a track record of leadership and management, because that is what needed for a governor position. Okay.
Honorable Patrick, so you went through the UDA nominations, you didn't win, or rather, you lost, and now you're an independent. How difficult is it to mobilize by yourself in an entire county of 1.2 million registered voters, and you don't have the backing of a political party?
So I'll come to that. Let me say, the hospital thing and the health of the people of Kiambu is very key, and I'm very passionate about that. And remember, I don't know whether you can remember when we used to call them district hospitals then, and they had what we call amenity wards. Amenity wards is just a section of the hospital that was kind of divided, and if you come in and you have money to pay, you get very good services, but you pay money, and this money is plowed back into the other section of the hospital, and all those hospitals would have medicine, would have bandages, what Mheshimiwa Gatabaki is saying, you get all this. Basically, I think that is a working model, and my thinking is, if I become the governor of Kiambu, I really want to get money from those who have and serve people who do not have. And we can do that without any collision or any conflict. There is there's a scheme that I have started, and I'm following it up with insurance companies. They have offered 8,000 a year, 8,500 a year. It translates to about 23 shillings a day. And with that, you get inpatient and outpatient care. I'm very key about that.
23 shillings a day?
23 shillings a day, about 8,500 a year. So, and it's giving you that. They have a limit. They have a limit to that. Yeah, and I am thinking this could be the solution of what we are calling universal health care.
Okay.
So now, on the politics part, yes, I moved to UDA. But remember, today, I mean, here, as I sit, I'm an independent member of Parliament of Vika, and there are many benefits to independent. But as it is, you know, even today, I know Kalonzo Musyoka do not know where they belong. So there has been those issues where you feel, do I want to be here? Do I want to be here? But let me confess here, right here now, that it was a mistake to move to a party. There is nothing as sweet and good in politics like being independent. When I'm in parliament, I can move any bill, I vote with my conscience, I support the party I need, I support what... And people talk to me. If a party wants to support me, I have to ask them, what do you have for the Ika people? So I have a very good bargaining power. Here, as an independent governor, and I can tell you, I'm only answerable to the people of Kiambu, not a party leader. And tell you again, as an independent,
you become governor once elected. A specific question, because you're running.
How I become, I'm getting there.
Exactly.
So what there is, as an independent person, right now, people know and have known it is not about the party, it's about the people. And I will tell you what, people also know that now they are very careful, not about the promises. Here you had invited 3 people who have been in politics for more than 10 years. They refused to come because they know we are going to ask them questions. What have you done for the people of Kenya? What have you done for the people of Kiambu? What have you done with the integrity? Do you have the integrity that it takes to become
the last question
a governor of Kiambu? This is important. Let me conclude this point this way, that it's about your track record. And it's about your integrity. That is what is going to win Kiambu.
All right, I hear you.
Yes.
But what are Kenyans, because you're an independent, I am. Give an objective. What are Kenyans saying in Kiambu about the presidential election between these waves of Azimio la Umoja, Kenya Kwanza, the naming of running mates, Rigathi Gachagua and Martha Karua on this other side? What are they saying?
Personally, I'm only running for the seat of governor, and I do not want to sway anybody on what kind of a president you want. If these presidents want to ask for their votes, please let them come here to Citizen and request and ask for their votes. But I want to say this. I'm very, very happy with women of Kenya. I am excited. Karua is my role model. I have desired even to meet this lady, in that if you look at the things and how she has stood, this is the kind of leadership we need in Kenya. People who stand with integrity no matter what, whether they get a seat or they lose a seat, they stand for what they believe. That is Martha Karua, that is Wainaina Wajango.
Okay, I hear you. But Mwende, what are Kenyans saying in Kiambu about this presidential election and what people are thinking?
Well, there's a bit of excitement about Martha, but I'll tell you, frankly speaking, I'm disappointed because in I think it was 1992 when Charity Ngilu ran for presidency. Okay, for me, that was the most exciting time. 1997. Yeah. For me, that was the most exciting time. For us to be excited as women, for example, to be excited because Martha has been, is a running mate. And this is how many years since then? Like many, like 30? Please do the math.
97 to now is about 25.
Like 25 years later?
Yes.
For me, there's no excitement there. I feel we've actually moved way backwards. What I also say here is which party is really promoting women. If I look at Azimio, it has one governor candidate from Homa Bay. If I look at that is
ODM.
Sorry, come again.
That is ODM.
That is ODM.
Yes.
Okay, that is ODM. If I look at Wiper has one, Safina has one. Now UDA has 5. Out of the remaining 8 or 9, they could be 9. Out of the remaining 9 women governor candidates, 5 are in UDA. And not only, and what I have seen myself is that the deputy president actually goes to help out. When Susan has an issue in Nakuru, the deputy president goes there.
Okay.
When Aisha has a problem, he goes there. The one person who is supporting women in this country to sit on decision-making tables at the highest level is the deputy president.
Okay, I hear you.
Yes, so I think that is very important.
Okay, I hear you.
Yes.
I asked for what Kenyans are saying in Kiambu. I got more than I asked. But all the same, we take a look at some few tweets of what Kenyans have been saying. Anthony is saying Kiambu cannot be a food basket anymore. Industry is the only way to generate wealth for its citizens. But what will people eat? That's the question I keep asking. Mary Wairimo, life in Kiambu is becoming too expensive. Agricultural products are also expensive, yet we are a county that has agricultural produce. We need a leader who will come to change all this. Engineer Lazaro, Kiambu is the suitable suburb for the city tycoons and middle class. That cosmopolitan county needs sober leader with the wisdom of inclusivity and to attract serious investors. Abere Jacob, Kiambu County is well endowed with managers, aspirants, but what fails them, they vote in a person with illusions. Okay. Real cash. Our fathers are out there getting drunk. Why? There is no employment. There are no job investment chances. So we need a leader who will come in, keep the economy running, and with this we will reduce even the level of drinking in Kiambu. Of course, that's just one of the challenges that that country faces in terms of socioeconomic. We invited, again, it's important here for the sake of accountability, we invited Governor James